What is up? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here to have some fun with the only one, the guy you know as
Kush One.
And today we're back at it to answer more questions in another enticing episode of For the Greater.
Whoa! This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. Also, if you want to support the channel, if you enjoy us jabbering about nonsense of 40K and other nonsense, because we talk about a lot of weird shit, consider supporting the channel with a super thanks. If you do, you can ask us a question and you will lead the next Greater WAAAGH. So that question is going to be answered, guaranteed, and it's going to be a thumbnail question. This question comes from Mika Holiveria 8567. Would it be safe to assume that if the Legion of the Damned are demon types and the living saints are greater demons of the Emperor, could we assume that the Emperor has a place in the warp like a domain of order?
So that's very interesting because the Imperium already has a belief system. Well, some do. Certain sects of the Imperium have a belief system that, yes, Saint Celestine and any other saint are indeed blessed by the Emperor to be a quote-unquote greater demon, and the Legion of the Damned to be the lesser demons. So does that mean that this space in the warp is parted off for the Emperor? I don't 100% think so, because the Emperor works in a very different way than the Chaos Gods do.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like greater demons and demons are a part of a god. We know that Saint Celestine and the Legion of the Damned are not part of the Emperor. They have his powers.
But they were still humans, or at least human-born, created into Space Marines through the whole process of becoming a Space Marine.
Yeah, basically the Emperor touched them in a certain type of way that made them stronger.
Right. Whereas with Chaos, these are literal beings ripped out of Khorne, Slaanesh, Nurgle, etc.
Yeah, imagine you biting your toenails, spitting it out, and then that becomes like a little version of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what a demon is.
Right. So if that was the case, I think that within the warp, you have like the Gardens of Nurgle, the Palace of Slaanesh, the all these things that just make the Chaos Gods their own domain. If the Emperor were to have that, I think that would mess up the order of chaos, which sounds contradictory right there. Because chaos is a wheel. It's constantly spinning. Khorne might be on top one time. Maybe Slaanesh, who's usually power bottom, is now on top. So the dynamic is shifted, and now it's like all eyes are on the Emperor. So I think that puts a target on the Emperor. All the Chaos Gods against the Emperor breaks the wheel of chaos. And I think that is why that cannot happen.
Yeah, in that analogy, I like it because it's basically the four Chaos Gods right now are switches, and if the Emperor comes in, you solidify each god as a top or a bottom.
Right, and you can't do that.
No, you can't. let them be whoever they want to be.
Right, at whatever time they want to do it at.
Now, there is something to say about the Emperor being or having some type of presence within the warp, because he has the Astronomicon. Obviously, when the Legion of the Damned aren't out there damning legions, they're in the warp somehow. So what that looks like, who knows? Another thing to understand about the warp is that it's shapeless, timeless,
formless.
Yeah, like,
there's no real concept of reality into it. It's like its own extra thing.
So yes, the domains or the realms of the Chaos Gods exist, but at the same time, there's a lot of nothingness. It's called is it the Ash Waste?
I want to say it's the Ash Waste.
So could these demons of the Emperor, or like the Legion of the Damned and Saint Celestine, be hiding somewhere in there? Maybe.
Yeah, it's always a possibility, because even if it never was, it always has been.
That's true. Yeah. So, good question. Makes us think. Let's move on to the next one. Sorry for the technical difficulties. You guys probably had really shitty sound for a little bit, but we fixed it, and now we're back. Moving on to the next question.
Archimisto says, can the orcs destroy the Imperium? So say there's nothing else. It's just Imperium versus orcs. Who wins?
Well, the orcs win. Like, the whole thing about the lore with the orcs is if the orcs were ever to unify, they wouldn't just conquer the Imperium, they would conquer everything. Mm-hmm. They're everywhere. Think of them as field rats.
Not field mice.
No, because they're outside. Mm-hmm. Rats are outside.
Mice are inside.
But that's what orcs are. Orcs are just everywhere. More like ants, I guess.
Yeah.
And they can just destroy anything if they unify, but they're not, or they can't.
Yeah, because they always fight amongst each other. There's always somebody who thinks he's bigger, stronger, meaner, crumpier. So yeah, the orcs would definitely win. They almost did in the War of the Beast.
Yeah, that's when we found out what a quark is. Basically, a really sexy orc. And you're thinking to yourself, how could an orc be sexy? Have you ever seen those chicks that crush watermelons with their thighs? Don't tell me you don't want to be put in that position. This question comes from the big one. What faction of Warhammer 40K does the civilization in the hood most closely represent? I say the Tau, since you got the Pimp cast, your ethereals, the Ho cast, what would that be? The diplomats,
Sure.
The water cast,
Yeah.
the drug dealer cast, earth cast, the crackhead cast, the long ones, I guess, because crackheads are usually skinny.
Aircast.
There you go, and the dope fiend cast.
Fire cast.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. I couldn't have said it better.
Which cast would you like to join if you were in the hood?
Oh, easily the fire cast, because
The
I'd be
dope
fiending. And it's closest to chaos because the word fiend is there.
You like Coke, right?
Yeah, I prefer it over Sprite or Squirt.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's a really good question, or a really good statement. Big one. So yeah, you're right. Next one.
Anathadaridadar. With all the 40K fans thinking of the Chaos Gods, are we creating a real Chaos Warp in our reality?
Yeah.
That's basically what happened in the 40K reality, because we are the 40K reality.
I was even thinking, or like last week or something, I was talking about like how a dimension of thought could exist as the warp or the immaterium, and somebody said something. They made a connection. Oh, it was because it was a Spanish podcast, and then later I found out that like your thoughts are irreal. Right, they're
not real.
They're not real. Irreal sounds a lot like immaterium. So it's like we're doing it. We're creating an immaterium by just thinking. So for all you overthinkers out there, shame on you.
But also thanks.
Yeah. Next question.
This one is a really interesting one by Octavian08. How do I ask a Tau girl out on a date? Like this. Do you want to go on a date?
You go, hey ma, and then you're supposed to say, what's up?
What's up? I guess I'm the Tau girl on this.
Yeah.
So how would you do it?
If you were a Tau girl?
It's role play.
All right.
Like we've never done before.
Okay. Xenos, and then that's how you get him.
I was about to say over my cold dead body, but that's where he's about to be.
Cold, dead, embodied. So yeah, just go up to him, say what's up. For a fictional character.
Yeah, somebody that does not exist.
Speaking about fictional characters, Anthradailalder says, did the Sound Alchemist give his hair to Gershwan?
All of it.
Next question.
This one is by Oscar Iglesias. That means Oscar Churches. What will happen if a gene stealer cult infected human is selected as an Astarte candidate and begins the transformation process? Will he become a space marine, or will the gene stealer genes not survive the process?
Right, they won't survive the process. The point of the psycho-indoctrination, biological testing, is to destroy those impurities. So the gene stealer within, or that tyrannid gooiness inside them would be like a red flag for the Space Marines, and the Space Marines would go...
Yeah, it wouldn't even get to the process of the gene seed implantation. The apothecaries and the chaplains would already know. This dude's not a dude.
He has 3 arms. And not in a good way.
Yeah.
Or that'd be 3 legs, right?
Yeah, the legs part.
Next question comes from Escatonin66666. If you do merch, could something be Art of the Sound Alchemist turning a lead guitar riff into gold?
Sure, why not?
Sound Alchemist, yeah. Now with AI, we can pretty much do anything. You can go on like some AI generator and say Space Marines playing the piano, and boom, you get it.
Do with that what you will, internet.
No, there's ways. Like, I've tried it. You can't do X-rated AI stuff
Yet.
yet.
But if we do what Brian B. asked, maybe we can. His question is, would you guys join Vastor?
Yeah.
Yeah, hands down, dude. Yeah, Vastor is super amazing in the lore. Dude can give you anything you want with machinations of technology.
He's like a cool tech guy.
He's like Geek Squad, but cool.
Yeah, and they don't.
Overcharge you.
Yeah,
They don't steal from your house when they come in to do stuff.
I know they do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They do put those little like fuzzy boots though on their
Yeah,
shoes, so that
they're at least doing it courteously.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, that's my heart. You stole my heart. Kiss me.
Well, I don't know where that went,
Yeah.
but yeah. And those are the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, keep those questions coming, guys, and so will we. As always, it's me, the Sound Alchemist,
Me, Gershwan.
and we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first.